just move this? Didn't I not just move this? Why you move? Welcome back, guys, to the post-production video. My name is Shane Gentles, and today we'll be doing a editing software review of VSDC, a free editing program you can go and download today if you really wanted to. We're going through the process of opening up the program to all the way of exporting out a video and giving my pros and cons of actually using it. If you want my quick summary right now on what I think, I will give it to you right now, and that is, I will just stay away from it. I wouldn't bother. The interface is just terrible. It looks terrible, and it's even worse actually even using it, to be honest with you. I feel like it's a program that is like kind of dated, like 10, 15 years old in terms of this interface. But the most of all is that it does things different from other programs for no added benefit whatsoever. I feel like if you are going to use VSDC, you're going to have to learn how to use it. You can't jump in and just start editing. It's so different that you have to actually learn how to import, how to export, and how to even edit certain things. So it just does things differently. And I feel like if you're going to learn something that's new, go learn DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve is a much better program than VSDC, and if I have to spend the time, I'll have to spend time learning DaVinci Resolve. But let's go through the process from opening it up, me editing a video, exporting, giving you the pros and cons from actually using it. So let's go. Honestly, I do like the way VSDC starts up. Like when you make a new project that has this really nice setup window with really nice professional settings, like I appreciate that a lot. And I feel like VSDC sets you up, making you think it's a professional program when it's not. It's really not. It tries to be, and I see through its facade, to be honest with you. Because once you start the project and you look at it, it looks so advanced. Like there's so much parameters and things all over the place. It looks like a 3D program, to be honest with you. I look at it like, this is like a 3D program, like with all the things everywhere and stuff like that. It doesn't look like an editing program, to be honest with you. But it wants to be different. And one of the biggest differences is importing footage. It's not even different, it's just weird. You can drag and drop footage, which I feel like that's not what a professional program does. You know, you drag footage in. I feel like it's a bit of a simpler editing program. And the fault is not having a project window where you can put all your footage in. And that's what makes me feel like this is not a professional program. Now, there is an add objects button at the top. And honestly, that didn't click to me that that was how you import footage. You click on that, because I even looked at the resources that they have on their website of how to import footage, and they're saying to add it from the bar. To add it from the bar where the small little green icons are to add it in, and that goes directly onto the timeline. I like to organize my footage. Professional people like to organize their footage within the program. Organization is so important, and VSDC does not allow you to do things quickly. Even when you drag in or you import your footage, a dialog box comes up. I don't like this dialog box. I don't like it, but also I don't hate it. I understand why they have it, and other programs do have a similar kind of function, but you kind of like skip past it if you really want to. VSDC, you can't skip past this step, which is basically, it tells you where you want to put the footage. You want to put it at the beginning, do you want to put it at the end, or in between somewhere, blah, blah, blah. And I think it's unnecessary, to be honest with you. If I'm bringing in something, I expect it to be where the cursor is. I guess if you have multiple layers, where do you put it? How about on the top layer? Like, that's fine by me. I like that as a default thing, you know what I'm saying? I feel like maybe you can change that in the settings or something, but I didn't really like it. I feel like it was an extra thing, especially the fact that you can't just add all your footage you want right in the program. Everything goes onto the timeline. So everything is a bit a mess already. I did it one by one, to be honest with you, when I was putting in the footage and editing stuff. And I think this is what I'm kind of really annoyed about VSDC, is that a lot of these functions are just really unnecessary, and not having a program window really cuts it of it being like DaVinci Resolve or Premiere Pro. I haven't used Shortcut yet, but I think even Shortcut have, like, where you keep all your assets is very important, where you can kind of see everything instead of having everything on the timeline. that makes me feel like it's a very simple program when I see that function. Editing on VSDC. It's trash. It's trash. It's straight up trash. It's trash. But before I even go into like how it even cuts and how it even trims, the first thing I did was put in the music. That's the first thing I did. First thing I did was put in the music, and I realized there's no waveform. I can't see the waveform of the music. And no, there is no waveform for the music. Unfortunately, that features only for the premium version of VSDC. Which is fine. Okay, cool. I can work with it. But also, it doesn't have a level meter to check the dB levels. So I have no clue on if the levels are correct or not. Now, I don't know if that's in the paid version or not. Maybe it's in the paid version. But I don't have a waveform and I don't have a level meter. So there's no way of actually gauging how loud the music actually is. Now, you might be thinking, just listen to it. No, not necessarily. Because you can easily change your speaker to whatever volume you want, but that might not match the dB. The dB might be like loud, but your volume could be really low. The dB could be really low, but your volume's really loud. But seeing the dB, you know, okay, cool, that's the optimum place where it should be. And that's just kind of like standard. If you're trying to be a professional program, have a level meter. Okay, maybe in the professional version, again, I don't really know. But if you're taking away two things, the waveform where I can see the levels, and you can kind of see the levels, the waveform, but and the level meter, you're just cutting me off. You're just cutting me off at the knees. So trimming. Let me tell you what trimming is like on VSDC. Okay, so this is what it's like. I need a measuring tool so you understand what I'm saying. So, say this is the beginning of the footage, and this is the end of the footage, right? So, if I want to trim the end of it, you know, you go to the timeline, you kind of go to the end of the clip, and you just want to trim a little bit. No, it doesn't trim the end. It takes away from the end. It cuts the end, and you're kept with the beginning, but now you're left with a little bit less of the end. And same with the end. If I take away the end, that's cool. That's fine. I've got the end. I can take away the end. That's fine. But I can't trim from the beginning because it has this weird, tape measure type trimming tool. And what's even worse is that, say, I want to, I've cut this part and I've deleted the end, so this part is no more. I can't get that back anymore. What it does, it just trims more of the end. And even if I'm at the end, it just keeps on going. It just keeps on going. But if I'm at the end of the footage, what else is it possibly stretching out for? Oh, it's the last frame. I've just got a minute-long length of the last frame for no apparent reason. Why doesn't it not stop when it hits the last frame like other programs do? Why? What trash are you trying to do? Like, it's unnecessary. It's just unnecessary. And one last thing that doesn't make sense. That beginning part's gone. That's gone forever. You better import that back in, or you have to undo to get that back. I was editing this. I didn't realize until after. I'm like, what are you doing? This is trash. This is trash. I'm so annoyed. It annoyed me so much. It annoyed me to my heart because this simple things. It's a very simple thing, and they just didn't apply it. Unnecessary, straight up trash. And what's also trash is the parameters on the side. Why is it so small? Why is it so small? I'm sorry, guys. I'm really annoyed at VSDC because it could be a really good program, but it decides not to be. Like, if I have all these parameters, and so I have really good eyes, so I'm fine at being small. But I've been thinking about all the other people that are out there using programs, people who are wearing glasses. It's so small, you have to constantly be kind of going up to your screen to see how the parameters are. Because the parameters are really small. If I have if I'm changing audio, for instance, and the bar is that small, and you can't see, like, you have so much space there to utilize it. But no, you don't want to utilize it. You want to make everything small and cramp, and you want to make things easy to read. That's just like UI 101, right? Make things easy to read, make things clear, and it's not clear at all, and it's not easy to read. Straight up trash. So let me say a few things that I did like about it. Like, not everything was bad about VSDC. They do have a few good, nice things, and one of the nice things was the layer system. And like a free layer system where you can put anything anywhere. You can put the music anywhere you wanted. It didn't need to be in like specifically the audio track, and then you have like the video track. It could be anywhere. It could be on top of the video or in between video clips. I just kept it traditional, just kept it at the bottom, just so I was a bit more organized. I feel like I want it to be organized that way, and I feel like I don't know why they did that. It doesn't necessarily. It's kind of weird just having audio differently. Maybe you want the audio at the top, maybe, and then have the video at the bottom. Maybe you want to work that way, and I don't think you could really do that in any other program, which I really think is kind of cool, and maybe you want to work that way. So the open, like, free layer system is actually really interesting, and I did kind of like it. I had no problems or no qualms with it whatsoever. I really liked how VSDC used markers in their program, where you can do a lot more with it than just making a mark. The way I used it was actually using it as a cutting tool as well as a marking tool, which is like killing two birds with one stone. I can cut and make the mark, and then I can actually use those cut points to like shift things and cut things away, which I think is really useful. I think it does take away the simplicity of markers, where you just want to like implement a marker real quick instead of having dialogue window come up. But as a whole, I really did like the way it's been used and implemented, which I actually really do appreciate. It makes it feel like it's a bit more professional. That was one of the professional features that it has, which I actually really do appreciate. But the way VSDC handles clips could be much more better. The way you move clips around, it's neither snappy nor smooth. It's just jaggedy. It's just jaggedy the way it's used. Like, when I'm highlighting a few clips together, I want to drag it so it sinks into exactly where I want it to be. It doesn't move in tandem. They move ununiformly. Even if it's a word, ununiformly. Like, the first one moves and then the last one tries to catch up. And if you don't drag it enough, it doesn't catch up, and then you're playing it thinking everything's sync, everything is fine, and it's not. And you're like, oh, snap. Now I have to like snap it into place. And same with like moving them up and down as well. As soon as you move it down, it's already out of sync. Like 90% of the time, it's like out of sync. So I had to even use the cursor when I'm moving down to another layer or another track. I had to use the cursor to make sure it's still in sync. And when I was editing the music, I wanted to move it down to another track because the way it uses the trim function, I just did not want to I didn't want to use the trim function. So I cut up in a weird way. But I had to drag it down to another layer. And when I put it down to another layer, as soon as I finished, it would pop back up again. Did I not just move this? Why you moved? I had to do this like 3 times because it kept on popping back up. I had to use another clip, put it at the bottom so it doesn't pop back up into the same place. I don't think it allows a free layer to be open, so you have to use that free layer. That, I guess, is not fully free, not fully functional. So annoying. And the fact that dragging them down is kind of a longer process than normal because it goes out of sync. It wasn't easy just to just drag everything and just drag it back down again. No, I have to do them one by one to make sure everything was in sync. So it took even longer than it actually should. Like, the way you use clips VSDC is very important. And if you don't get it right, you need to fix those bugs. There's very small things are a very big problem with using the program. And if it doesn't be fixed, it's really hard for me to suggest this program. You can look past it, guys. I think you can. Or maybe I'm not using it right or something. I like to give these programs the benefit of the doubt. But the experience is so important that if the simplest things are not done properly, how am I meant to give you props for the bigger things? I'm so annoyed. I'm so annoyed. If you want to color grade, if you can do transitions, if you can do effects in VSDC, do not even think about even using it. It's just there's no point. There's other programs you can use that will just make your life a lot more easier. VSDC just makes things difficult for no reason. Why? Let me explain to you. Right, so if I want to do color grading or effects or transitions, you hit on a clip, you add it, it pops up a new sequence. They call it a scene. I'm going to call it a sequence because it's not a scene. It makes no sense, right? It's not a scene. And it just has that effect. You apply that effect. It doesn't apply it to the whole clip. It just applies to whatever amount it wants to be honest with you. So you have to drag that clip to how much, you have to drag that effect to how much you want it to be in that clip. And the parameters are already too small. So that's already like a negative thing already. I'm not even going to talk about that again. The parameters are too small. And when you're trying to adjust things, when I was doing saturation, I had to keep on going up and down. Right, let me explain. So when you have like slider bars, it makes things a lot more easier to adjust, right? Because you're just looking at the clip, you've already clicked on the slider bar and you're just moving left and right. Really easy, really simple. The workflow is simple. But if I want to adjust the saturation, there's only an up and down button. So I have to press the up button to add some saturation. But if I went too much, and because it's so small, I have to take my eyes off the clip, find where the down button is, and click that and then go back down. And if you're going back and forth, the annoyance of actually just having to actually just stop looking at what you're looking at just so you press the right button properly. Honestly, it doesn't sound like a big thing, but if you do back and forth, trust me, it's a big thing. Super annoying. More annoying things is that I can't even add an effect or a clip, an effect or a transition onto a bunch of clips. I highlight a bunch of clips, I go to add an effect. There's no way of adding effect. You only can add them one by one. So if I did a color grading for one clip and I wanted to apply it to all the other ones, there's no way of doing that. If I have an effect and I want to copy that effect on all the other ones, there's no way of doing that. Why? It makes your life so much easier. Like, honestly, I don't know why they're doing this. Maybe I don't know how to do it, maybe. Why can't I not have it on the timeline? Why can't I just add the effect and just boom, it's there on the timeline, I can see it? If I'm using a transition, guys, this doesn't make any sense. Let me know. I have a transition and I put it, you can't put it on both clips. You have to add it on one clip. Does this make any sense? And then it opens another sequence with that transition. I can't see where that transition is on the clip because I just see the transition effect. I don't see where the clip is on the timeline. So I'm dragging, hoping it's going to be in the right place. I play it. Okay, it looks like it's in the right place. Okay, cool. Let me go back to the timeline because in that sequence, you only can see the clip that you applied it to. You can't see other clips. So you have to go back to your timeline to see if the transition works from the first clip to the second clip. And if it doesn't work, you have to go back into the sequence and adjust it, make it longer, make it shorter. Maybe you have to move it and then go back to the sequence, see if it works. It's long, unnecessary. If it was on the timeline, you could drag it where it was, drag it how much you want it to. You can visually see it's in the right place. Press play, it works fine, moving on. No, you make things longer. And lastly, exporting. Exporting was not very clear. It was not very clear. I had to look up their resources to see how to export. And even after that, I still didn't get everything because they didn't tell you everything. I wanted to export a specific part of my edit, and I used the in and out points to, precisely check those points to export. But it exported the whole thing. I'm talking about not just the clip, but all the black space as well. And I still don't know how to change that. Like what I did wrong, I still don't know. And what I did like is that I had loads of settings that you can choose from when you did export. I thought that was really great. And I chose YouTube because I thought, you know, that's what I'm gonna kind of do with this video anyway. Put it up on YouTube. Something I think a lot of people are gonna do when they use this is upload to YouTube. So I chose YouTube, and you got to choose all your settings, all your frame rates, your resolution. I think it's great. They even have 4K DCI, which is like loads of places don't have 4K DCI. If you don't know 4K DCI, that's okay. Those are for the professionals anyway. If you want to go to cinema, you know what I'm saying. So I thought I appreciated that. And what I liked was when I finished exporting, it asked, oh, do you want to upload to YouTube? Oh, I thought that was quite nice. I can, as soon as I export, I can upload straight to YouTube without it being an extra step, you know what I'm saying? But what I didn't like was the conversion process. Like, it's an extra step, but like once you go to export, you do all your settings and then you have to go to conversion. Why is it another window? Why is it another step? Just have like an export button or a save button or a conversion button. I don't know why they even have conversion. I don't think, just the way they use words in this program, it's just like kind of weird, to be honest with you. My final thoughts on VSDC: do not use it. Do not use it. There's no point. The only reason why I would use VSDC are for these very two reasons. One, if you are planning to use 4K or higher resolution, if you want 4K DCI export, then this is probably a good option for you, because I believe in DaVinci Resolve you cannot work over 4K resolution, nor can you export at certain resolutions or certain parameters as well. I think it does limit you at the free version, but with VSDC you are not limited. You can work up to 8K. You have a loads of really good exporting features. So that's probably something I think if you do have, I don't think other free programs even have those exporting functions. So you've got that. Also, if you wanted to have a program that doesn't take up so much of your processing power, you know, the requirements for VSDC is much more lower than DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve needs a quite powerful system to run. And if you don't have quite a powerful system, then maybe you want to use VSDC because you have some advanced options you can use, but it's not going to be very clunky to use if you don't have a very powerful system. But on the whole, I will stay away. I didn't like the experience whatsoever. But if you guys watched this until the end of the video, thank you so much. If you can like, please put down a comment what you thought, because honestly, I was raging in this video. I was so annoyed. I've never been so annoyed. I really hate having to bash an editing program. But guys, like, if VSDC, if you're watching this, talk to me. I'm happy to give you feedback on how to make your editing program better. It's just a few things just to make the user interface much more better, and I feel like that's what you're really missing. So yo, I'm happy to talk to you guys. But yeah guys, until next time, the next video, bless the peace.